I need a Rumo, please-o.
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for whatever is in the title of this episode.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/thehorrorofbabylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps.
Another Dagon episode of the Horror of Babylon, where we're watching Dagon terrible movie. I'm your Dagon host, Ryan, and this is my Dagon co-host, Damon. Say hi, Daniel. Dagon it, say something, son. This is a Dagon podcast. You got a Dagon talk, boy.
You sound just like my sister.
I'm your sister. I'm your sister. Yes, hello. Welcome to the Horror of Babylon, where we are discussing Dagon from 2001. I'm Ryan, and with me, as always, is Daniel. Dagon it, say something.
I wish I was hiding.
Hef's here too, but he's just hanging out for a bit.
He is.
He didn't watch the movie.
He didn't. But,
he was spared a terrible fate.
But goddamn that intro.
He's gonna watch it though.
I mean, I saw the highlighted pics on Google. I don't think I need to really see more.
Oh
than
no,
that.
you need to see it.
You told me that was my sister, and I had to. Like, I'm not really keen on watching the movie now.
You don't have to. You get to.
Permission does not make it better.
That out of context is really bad.
Can I get that as a clip?
Not if Hef ever wants to run for public office.
Oral office.
Hillary, they told me it was called the Oral Office. Speaking of our constituents, thank you to Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben, the Fourth Patron of Hope, me the Fifth, the Rainmaker.
She makes it rain, yo.
Oh, she makes it rain, and Sierra the Sixth, the Keyblade Patron. The dagger in this movie, that Dagon dagger. What sound would that make? Like whoop whoop whoop, like thistle thistle thistle.
I picture making it more of a wet noise just because everything in this movie is wet.
This looks like something that somebody who watched Lord of the Rings twice and never again would pick up at like their local flea market.
It's like a spinal cord, I guess. It's what it's supposed to be. Like a gilded spinal cord. Yeah.
She still showed me pictures of my sister and it does things. I don't know what to do.
My sister's from Kentucky, so it's alright. Trigger warning, just B movies. Like, if you don't like movies that are bad, but just stay away. What's our history with Dagon? Daggett, Norbit. Dan, I have never seen this before, and I'm going to tell myself tomorrow that I've never seen it at all.
When I was going through my first H.P. Lovecraft obsession, I sought out every possible adaptation.
Oh my god, that's terrible. I'm sorry.
And this is one of the better ones.
Oh.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Well, so part of my issue was like, this is the fourth H.P. Lovecraft movie we've watched, and the other three are really good, and this one is by far the worst.
What were the other ones? Call of Cthulhu?
Call Girl of Cthulhu, Call of Cthulhu, and Reanimator.
Okay. I keep forgetting about Call Girl of Cthulhu because I just think of that special.
It's not an adaptation, but
it's honestly...
It's my favorite adaptation.
It is honestly a better Lovecraft movie than this is.
Yeah.
Like, even getting the themes down.
Yeah.
The Call of Cthulhu movie I really like.
Yeah. And obviously Reanimator is fantastic.
Yeah. It's intentionally funny, so...
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
Background, this is a Spanish film. However, it is, well, the main characters speak in English. Everybody else speaks in Spanish and other languages. It was released October 12th, 2001, directed by Stuart Gordon, who co-wrote and directed Reanimator. Mm-hmm. He wrote the first two Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movies, and he...
What? This movie at least has to go up a couple points for that.
No, I think I'm just going to take Honey, I Blew Up the Baby down a couple points. And he co-wrote The Body Snatchers. His writing partner, Dennis Powley, wrote this movie, who he also co-wrote Reanimator and The Body Snatchers, and with Charlie Dolan, he co-wrote Ghoulies 2. This movie earned 212,000 euros at the box office.
Which is like $5. Okay.
But it may have just had a really limited release. Like, maybe it was out in like 2 cities for 1 weekend. I don't know.
I know it's generally considered a bomb, so I pictured it had to have some kind of release.
Yeah, and I didn't see anything on a budget. It's a cheap movie. It's not like the cheapest movie I've ever seen, but it's not. This is not a multi-million-dollar movie.
It has very early 2000 CGI.
Oh my god, it does. Early 2000 CGI jumped out from between his sister's legs. It's come to me, brother.
If honestly, if we're painting a picture and that was going to my sister, like, that's probably how it would look to me too. Like, just, this is about this. I'm not ready for this.
She could have said "Unleash the Kraken," and it would have
fit right in.
Would have fit right in.
Yeah.
And that's that. Another story in the classic, infallible 3-act structure. Good enough for Aristotle. Good enough for The Simpsons.
Mr. Sislak, I have a feeling there's going to be one more act to this story.
Well, I'm not hanging around for that. 4 acts.
Structure and themes. This film is loosely based on The Shadows over Innsmouth, not Dagon.
Hiya! Happy Easter!
Apparently, I read on the wiki that they originally wanted to title it The Shadow over Innsmouth, and I forgot why they didn't.
Doesn't matter.
But it is not an adaptation of the Lovecraft short story Dagon. It is a loose adaptation of the Lovecraft story The Shadow over Innsmouth.
Okay, so I love that one of the first things that Ryan told me whenever I told him that this was the movie that I think we should do as the adaptation for The Shadows over Innsmouth was my Koontz is that they didn't call it The Shadows over Innsmouth, and they called it Dagon.
That's no longer my Koontz.
That's no longer. I didn't think it would be. But there's this thing that people keep doing with some Lovecraft movies where they will take a story, pretend to adapt it, but then call it... There's another very loosely based Shadows over Innsmouth story adaptation, and it's just called Cthulhu.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. They keep doing it with this story specifically.
So they didn't have to pay for it.
Now his stuff is in the
public domain.
Yeah. Maybe it wasn't in 2001.
Well, they can't call it the Call of Cthulhu because they have to pay for that.
Because they call collect?
Daniel, is this a good adaptation of Shadows over Innsmouth?
No. It is a lot like Bram Stoker's Dracula in the sense that they took very broad plot beats and applied other things to it.
Yeah, there were points that it reminded me of Bram Stoker's Dracula, but much worse.
You also get a lot of that with Lovecraft adaptations where they will take very broad plot beats and then call it an adaptation.
What it takes is there's a spooky town with fish people.
And the hotel invasion, only it's done like almost slapsticky.
Yeah, it's...
There's a point where he literally just takes gasoline and goes, ha, ha, ha.
That's like the peak of the novella.
Yeah.
And they do it in the first 30, 40-ish minutes of the movie.
And there's a point where a fish person shoves his head into a dirty toilet.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was trying to be... I got the feeling that it was trying to be funny at those parts. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that's just me going, he tried. This movie actually has a lot of fans. Because people find it so bad it's funny. That's the fan base it's accumulated.
It's not that realm for me. It's so bad it's bad. Like, for me personally, what about you?
I really like the sister. I can't even
That's
remember.
my sister. How dare you?
No, we're communists here. Our sister.
Uxia Cambado.
Yeah.
Sister of Pablo Cambado. And Paul! No, Pablo!
I am going to offer a very tepid defense for this movie.
Alright.
I think if you wanted to avoid the not-so-subtle racisms of Lovecraft, a interesting way you could do that is instead you go incestuous genes. I don't think they explore it nearly well enough for it to be effective.
No.
But I will say that if that is a route you could have taken.
Yeah.
And sort of in terms of like your gene degradation.
Okay, so regardless of the source material and if it's a good adaptation or not, does this movie tell an effective story? I'm going to say no.
No.
He's trying. He's trying so hard to think of something.
There are just parts of this movie that I find kind of really funny. Like when they all wake up in the cage together and the one girl is missing her leg. And then the old drunkard's like, no, she got fucked by a fish.
I need some clarifications because either they have big continuity errors or I was so disinterested I blacked out.
Yes.
Were they were not actually locked up in there. They just walked out of that cage, right?
I think somebody unlocked it from the outside.
Okay, I may have just blacked that out. But there are moments that just like make absolutely no sense. So major spoilers have.
Okay.
The main character. So in this, imagine Robert from the book. He goes with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend gets kidnapped by the Church of Dagon, and they're Temple of Doom style, lowering her into a pit of water instead of lava
To be fucked by a fish.
to be fucked and eaten by Dagon. And it very like Temple of Doom. Like they're lowering her down, and all of the fish people are around the pit, like this. And you got so our hero walks into the hall with a can of gas and a lighter, and I'm like, what's he gonna do? Splash it on them and then like throw the lighter? No, it's worse. He walks up to the circle of people. He splashes the gas on him, takes the lighter and goes, and then one of them catches on fire and like bumfuck stumbles into another one, and it dominoes so that they all catch on fire. And then it gets to the point where he stops it and he's rolling her back up just like Indy does for Billy, he has his big scene with the girl. I won't say what happens, but he has his big scene with his girlfriend that he rescues, and you see the fish people dead all around him, and I'm like, and I'm sitting there, this is so stupid. They literally like had to trip into 40 different people to all catch on fire and die. And then as soon as the big scene with his girlfriend ends, there's 20 more and they're all alive.
Yeah, they were waiting. Everyone takes turns at the hole, and since they died, it was their turn. Your child will be immortal.
Sounds like a more serious version of the is it Robin Hood Men in Tights, where he kicks down all the knights and they go up the stairs and back down the stairs and come back around.
That
I don't know if
made
I
more
would.
sense.
I don't know if I would call it more serious.
Also, they just decided, like, we're going to do Shadow over Innsmouth, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre style.
There's a lot of, like, cutting off people's faces. Like, the fish people are wearing people that they've killed's faces to disguise themselves.
This disguise is not working.
Again, tepid defense. They didn't do that at the beginning. They showed up to the town and they were doing stuff I would think you would do if you were trying to hide features. Like, one dude had, like, a turtleneck and giant-ass sunglasses on.
They were wearing hoods and masks and...
And I'm like, okay, well, that's if you had fish features and you were trying to not show people you had fish features.
But then once they're discovered, they all start wearing skin masks. And before that, like, the only people who aren't covered, they all look like Lurch from the Addams Family.
This sounds like it would be a great 2000 live-action Asian film.
There is a Japanese adaptation of The Shadows over Innsmouth.
Is it this?
No.
Okay.
This is Spanish.
And until recently, I could not find a copy of it. Because I originally I was going to have us do that, but I couldn't find it with subtitles. Like 4 months ago, somebody put it on YouTube with subtitles, so I got to watch it the other day.
How was that?
This might be better.
This movie also takes place in Spain, which I didn't know it was a Spanish film until after the movie was over. So I guess it makes more sense that they decided. To me, like, The Shadow over Innsmouth has a very New England feel to it, and it loses something when you take it out of New England. But I guess, like, it was a Spanish production company. They wanted to make it take place in Spain.
The Japanese movie, though, is only like 50 minutes long.
That's good.
But it also has similar themes to this movie that I don't want to spoil, because I think I can convince Ryan to watch it at some point.
50 minutes, sure. Okay.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Let's talk about characters. Ezra Godin plays Paul Marsh / Pablo Cambaro, our protagonist. I don't usually like to bash people for being bad actors.
Why does he have two names?
Because he, just like in the book, he's from the town and he doesn't remember, or his family's from the town. But in this case, he's actually from it.
What's the opposite of a tepid defense? A tepid criticism?
I guess.
Okay.
Or a righteous defense?
A righteous. Okay. Well,
depends on which opposite you're talking about.
One of my biggest critiques of this. Okay. One of my biggest critiques for the plotting in The Shadows over Innsmouth. The plot twist makes slightly more sense because he establishes where he's from and where his family's from, and is like super close to Innsmouth. Mm-hmm. And then you get kind of like a family history of how somebody tricked one of Marsh's children off onto somebody else, and that's how it kind of got outside of the town. And this guy's portrayed as being like from America or something.
It actually, I called the entire thing in the first 5 minutes because it gives an outrageous exposition.
Yeah.
When they're in bed, he goes. They mention that they're in Spain, and he's like, "Oh, my mother's from Spain, and I was born here, but she hated it, and she never even let me learn Spanish. She moved me to America the first chance she got."
For some reason, it just seems way more outrageous that they would just coincidentally end up so close to the town.
Go on vacation.
Right there.
Yeah.
It would have been another thing if they would have set it up as he chose this spot. Mm-hmm. But
he just became a millionaire, and he could go on vacation anywhere in the world. I guess a lot of rich people do go like to the beaches of Spain, I guess, but that's like a thing. But
it's just a little bit different of like you're starting your road trip close to where you live.
Yeah.
Versus flying halfway across the world.
Yeah.
I don't think they set that up well for like he's being called back to the like I know he's having the dream, so they're trying to. Mm-hmm. But that's something that bothered me about this movie.
Yeah. No. What bothered me, I guess this should have fallen more under structure and themes, is like the majority of the short story is Robert exploring the town and getting to know the people and its history.
Yeah, you don't get any of that.
This is like literally like 45 minutes of this movie is a chase scene.
Uh-huh.
And it's cringy to me.
And like it's almost like they put in the Zadok scene out of obligation.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we have to have the flashback scene so people know what's going on. Mm-hmm. But he happens to run into the last normal person.
Yeah.
Instead of there like being...
They killed 2 women!
Like he's kind of investigating. And you could have... Because there's not a lot of women in Lovecraft movies and there's not a lot of motivation for characters. You could have written a movie where like his girlfriend went missing in an area, so he goes and is investigating. It changes it a little bit, but you'd still get that investigative stuff.
Yeah.
But sorry, more criticisms.
What about like the actual like character and the performance?
I don't think he does a great job.
Generally speaking, I think, and this could be a cultural thing. There are different like standards for acting in Spain, but overall, I thought this was a very poor performing cast. There wasn't really a performance in this movie that I thought was particularly memorable.
Do you have his girlfriend listed as a character?
Barbara, yeah.
Barbara, okay.
Raquel Merono. So I've got...
You are a lot of these people are Spanish actors, aren't they?
I think they're all Spanish actors.
Because that could also be part of it, is you have Spanish actors doing English.
Yeah, and that's like I'm trying not to be too critical, because like sometimes when I watch like a J-horror, I was like, that was really awkward, but that's just like kind of the cultural preferences they have for filmmaking, is to say a thing a certain way, and it feels weird to me because...
And then on top of that, you have them doing English.
Yeah, and this is a second language for... I don't know if it's their second language, but it is a Spanish movie, and it is a Spanish production company, but they did it in English, so... let's just go to his girlfriend, Raquel Merono as Barbara.
I'm not saying she deserved what happened, but my girlfriend threw my laptop...
Into the ocean.
Into the ocean. Because I forgot that happened until I rewatched this.
I was so pissed.
I saw that happen again, and I was like, huh. Like, I know he's a millionaire. I know, like, they have money. Mm-hmm. But I'm sitting there like, that's, like, straight up abusive.
Yeah.
I'm like, he was checking an email.
Yeah.
And it all kind of stemmed because he wasn't... was also sort of weird. He's like, I'm just really not in the mood for a blowjob right now. Let me check my email real quick.
Well, he just had a
bad dream.
A very livid nightmare.
He's like, I'm not feeling very sexual right now. I just want to check something for work, girl. And she throws this fit, and I was like... I forgot that happened, because I haven't seen this movie in years, but I was flabbergasted.
Was there setup for it, or she just did it?
Well, she's telling him... Just relax, stop thinking about work. You just got this big investment. We're rich now. Just stop thinking about work. And he's like, no, I gotta check this thing. So she throws his laptop in the ocean.
So no.
I mean, there's setup for it, yeah.
There's setup, but it's very...
I don't think it's justified, but...
That seems real... it seems like 0 to 100 real quick, though, for that.
No, I mean, like, her point was, like, they're out in the Atlantic Ocean in Spain... They've just become millionaires, and he's like, stop hunching over your computer and breathe in the sea air and live your life. Like, I understand, like, where she's coming from. I just wouldn't have thrown his laptop into the ocean.
Do you remember when we fought like that? Except I would have thrown you in the ocean. They had 2 friends with them so that they could have a couple quips and a couple more deaths.
Okay, and then Francisco Rabal, who died 2 months after this movie... and has the film dedicated to him, plays Ezekiel, who's the last human in... I don't even remember what the city's called. It's
not Innsmouth.
No, it's
something Spanishy.
It's something... It starts with an I. It's something that kind of sounded like a Spanish... I want to bring this up. I found it funny and cringy how bad the main character's Spanish is. I need a Rumo, please-o.
I almost thought that was like...
Him being purposely a dick?
No, I thought that they were like, how do Americans talk to us when they show up?
But, I mean, like, how many people don't know por favor? I mean, and then after that...
Por favor?
Yeah, the guy gives him
I don't have a poor favor.
He gives him the room key, and he says, "Oh, mucho diaz." I'm like, gracias. Like, mucho diaz. I mean, okay, so kindergartners know gracias is thank you.
This is sort of another like stupid criticism, but like I feel like I have to bring it up just because it's something that happened in the movie. Girlfriend goes to the hotel. They immediately attack her.
Yeah.
He goes into the hotel, and they're like, oh, just let him get to his room and relax, and then we'll surround the building.
Yeah.
Instead of just, like, grabbing him from behind as soon as he's in there, which is what they did to the woman.
I guess the writers was like, well, there was no threat in attacking a woman, but this is a man. I'm like, have you looked at this dude? He's the biggest computer nerd I've ever seen. I would rather attack him than attack that girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
He thinks the day is also a thank you.
Mucho dias.
Mucho dias.
So bad.
Rumo, pleaso might be the quote of the week for me.
I really want to go to Spain and just do this word for word.
No. And then he assumes that the priest doesn't speak English, and he's talking to his girlfriend. I don't want you to go with him. This guy is so creepy. And then the priest is like, I will help her find the police and a doctor. Okay, so did you have any thoughts on Ezekiel?
He had a very thick accent.
I had trouble understanding him at a lot of points.
Yeah. I honestly think one of the best parts of this movie is the flashback sequence of his.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's one of the few times where it actually almost feels like the story.
Yeah.
So, they say no worship gods who don't grant your prayers. I can't do it.
Apparently he was a Spanish actor of some amount of renown. Because, they whatever. Dedicated the movie. The Morbius episode is going to be so bad. But again, like, he was, in most of the movie, he was speaking in English, not Spanish, and it just sounded terrible, probably because maybe he didn't even speak English. Maybe he just memorized the lines phonetically, like Jackie Chan does.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Japanese actor that did something like that for a video game, where he's like, and he sat there and he practiced the lines completely, but he did not speak the language, and you can tell whenever you're just like listening to it.
Well, I don't want to say never. It rarely comes off right. Like, Jackie Chan does a good job, but he's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Donnie Yen does it, but he's amazing. Mm-hmm. And then I also have...
This has been a good conversation.
Ken Watanabe speaks English.
He does.
Okay. Macarena Gomez, who plays Uxia Kambaro, who is...
I want to do the Macarena.
She's essentially the Selma Hayek of this movie. Like, Selma Hayek is to From Dawn Till Dusk as this girl is to this movie.
That's a good comparison. I find this woman hauntingly attractive.
She is not my typical type, but she is very, very beautiful and very attractive.
She pulls off the crazy eyes well.
There's something about the eyes.
I do like that first scene where he kind of stumbles in and finds her in bed, and he's just like, I dream of you, and she's like, I know. And then
they just make out.
They start making out, and he takes off her shirt and starts grabbing her boob, and then she has 2 tentacles, and he's like, I'm done.
I forgot that my girlfriend was kidnapped. I'm the hero.
He thinks she's dead at that point.
Okay, I couldn't remember
because Ezekiel tells him that Barbara is dead.
That's
so he's like, "Oh, I'm single. It's fine."
Yeah, okay. At that point, he literally finds the woman of his dreams.
Time to turn my life around. She threw out my laptop. Not none of this shit.
He finds out she has tentacles instead of legs, and she's done.
Macarena. What did you think of Macarena?
I guess without her, this movie would have been literally unwatchable.
If a woman went through these lengths to avenge my laptop, I would also probably marry her.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I don't want to be a fish person, but I probably just would have been like, all right.
I mean, at that point,
yeah,
we have different mouths.
I'll kill you all. I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all. I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Scary shit. Is this movie scary?
The CGI is kind of scary.
Scary bad. Effects, not so great. The only practical effect that was really not terrible was the skinning of the face.
Yeah,
that was decent, but I was so over the movie at that point. There's just
I also really so they got old drunk man hung up, and they got little nerd hung up. They're gonna skin both of them. Mm-hmm. And old man's are like, "You made me remember who I am." This big empowered speech, and what does this guy do at the end? He goes and fucks his sister in the ocean.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, your hero, ladies and gentlemen.
They cut this dude's face off. They put a knife, they cut it all the way around. They cut out his eyes, and then they rip off his face.
Nice.
And he prays through it. He never screams. They start reciting the prayer and just prays through it. There's no way.
No.
There is no way. No.
There ain't no bitch in his blood.
It's like those kung fu masters that walk around on hot coals. Only like way escalated.
Yeah. Or like the monk in Vietnam who set himself
on fire
and just
sits there.
I bet the dude who did that in New York a couple weeks ago, I bet he didn't sit there. I bet he was running around screaming.
Oh, no, he screamed like a bitch.
Yeah, I bet.
I would not recommend that video if you like to sleep.
No, I'm not going to watch that video.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Kiss me, fat boy.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, I'm a little confused too. How do I, with the tail and all?
I'm not your first, am I? I mean, I lay my eggs, then I leave, and you release your fertilizer.
Why couldn't she be the other kind of mermaid? With the fish part on top and the lady part on the bottom?
This is not a sexless movie.
This is not a sexless movie.
Although it does open with somebody denying a blowjob.
I kind of wish I would have gotten to see him try to go down on Miss Macarena with the tentacles.
Yeah, how do you go down on squid?
You gotta really
to the beak?
Yeah.
Do you
You gotta be more careful, because otherwise you'll lose your tongue.
Beck sent me this reel the other day with this couple. They were doing a sex thing with Superman and Lois Lane. Superman got tied to the bed and they couldn't get him untied, so they had to call an ambulance to come get them untied and go to the hospital. And they're in the ambulance going to the hospital, and the paramedics are like, "Why Superman? He's super lame. You should do Batman, blah blah blah." And the girlfriend's like, "Well, I wanted him to dress up as Aquaman." And the ambulance driver's like, "He's even more lame than Superman." And she goes, "Yeah, but he doesn't have to come up for air." And they all go, "Oh!"
Fair.
You also can throw a few dolphins in there. It will.
Yeah.
Bottlenose going the distance.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
The power of Christ compels you. How would the Church of Dagon fare in the modern world against the major religions?
If they put her as the monarch, I mean, I don't know, it may have a shot.
Okay. I actually think it's gonna fare fairly well, and I'll tell you why. All these sexless nerds are going to join, because at least they get to fuck a fish. One of these days I'm going to have to send you the fucking incel documentary where a dude just keeps going on and on. He's like, "I would fuck a smelly, morbidly obese woman, just any woman she could..." And he keeps going on like that. That dude would fuck a fish.
Dude, you could just put some cream cheese on a bagel and warm it up in the microwave for a little bit.
I've asked out over 200 women and gotten rejected 200 times. I'm like,
I don't think it's the women's fault.
I'm like, I have to see your approach, buddy. Those dudes will fuck these fish. The religion will thrive.
At a certain point, I think you're going in there expecting a rejection and you're making it happen yourself.
This is a religion that gives you a wife as part of the contract.
You have to share your wife with the others. And then they get the white knight syndrome whenever you're sitting there being like, "They don't treat you as well. I will treat you the best."
What about Black Knight with Martin Lawrence?
I forgot that movie existed.
It's an adaptation of a Mark Twain novel.
Are you kidding me?
The Yankee and a Connecticut Yankee.
I've never seen it. I have never seen it. I know it exists.
Oh my God! Are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
Kings and Koontz. Daniel, what is your king for Dagon?
Macarena.
My king is the only thing that made me laugh out loud.
Fuck Dagon!
And your Koontz?
That I didn't get to see his sister fuck him with the tentacles because I really wanted that.
I couldn't nail down a single goose. This is just... The movie just fails on almost every level that you can by which you can judge.
I really wish I would have gotten to watch this with him. That's so fun.
Writing fails. Acting fails. Production fails. Adaptation fails.
Who are we gonna get to trick to watch this next?
Probably me.
Can we get Ron to watch this?
Maybe. Yeah. No, he'd probably be like, "Oh, I love that movie."
He probably will. And then he'll pay you to watch it again.
No. No. Homework. How is Daniel going to erase this movie from my memory forever? Without killing me, preferably.
I'm going to send you some of the other Lovecraft adaptations that I have seen.
Alright, for further reading, you can watch some good Lovecraft movies like Reanimator and Call of Cthulhu. You can read the manga. Manga good?
The manga's fantastic.
Okay, there you go.
I was not expecting it to like it as much as I did. I thought it would be like good. I was expecting Ring, like the Ring manga quality level.
Pretty decent.
No, this dude's like a pretty good artist. He captures a lot of it well.
Cool. Alright, so upcoming on the Horror Babylon, our next book episode is this Sunday, May 19th, where we're reading the Stephen King classic Cujo. And then the next week, the 26th, we are watching the film Cujo with Dee Wallace. And then our next 2 bonus episodes, on May 16th, we are watching Prey, the latest in the Predator franchise. And then on May 23rd, we are sort of going back to the world of Fazbear Pizza with Willy's Wonderland, starring one Nicolas Cage.
Oh, Nicolas Cage was in the Lovecraft movie.
The Flash?
Color Out of Space.
I don't know that one. Is that also based on The Shadows over Innsmouth?
No, it's based on the Colors Out of Space.
What? They named the adaptation after the story's based on?
I know, it's wild.
That's crazy.
We should watch Cthulhu next.
Thank you to our patrons, including Abigail Firstbringer, Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben, the 4th Patron of Hope, and Mia the 5th, the Rainmaker.
She makes it rain.
She makes it rain. It's here, the 6th, the Keyblade Patron. What's that chant that they do, the Cthulhu chant?
Okay, hold on.
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu. Oh, that's a better chant. South Park.
Cthulhu. Relay Fatagan.
That's good enough. Okay. Sierra the 6th, the Keyblade Patron. Cthulhu Fatagan Futagan. No shit, I already fucked it up. That's what a Keyblade sounds like.
That's what a Keyblade sounds like.
And thank you to Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can shop online at 4horsemen.tcgplayerpro.com. And you can also visit the store that once was in Arkham, Massachusetts, which inexplicably has been moved to Spain. But the staff all still speaks English. But that's okay because most Europeans speak multiple languages.
We're failing as a country.
We are. Also, Ronald III, Grandpas of Christmas. Thank you for watching Dagon and recording with me, blah, blah, blah.
It was a daggone good time.
Have you ever, gone to some establishment and interacted with a person who worked there who was so good at their job that it made you, enthusiastic about something that you have no business being enthusiastic about?
Yes.
No.
I'm going to try and imitate this guy. It's going to be hard. So I had to go into the office this morning because my internet was being wonky here. And I left without having breakfast. I was like, oh, fuck, okay. So I'll pull into Burger King, I'll grab a breakfast, and I'll head to the office. And I pull up to the drive-thru, and just this beaming voice comes through the loudspeaker. Welcome to Burger King. What can I get for you this morning? I'd like the 2 for $5 on the bacon, egg, and cheese croissant sandwiches. 2 for $5 on the bacon, egg, and cheese croissant sandwiches. What else can I get you? Nothing else. Pull right up onto the window. You rule. and I'm like, is this some Burger King AI? That wasn't a real person. So I'm excited to pull up to the window. And there's this dude there. He's short, he's bald, he's fat. He kind of looks like me. And I open up the window. 5:46, my man. It's 8:30 in the morning. Were you on cocaine?
I have a theory. He just lost his job at a radio station and he doesn't know how to turn it off. Because what you just described to me sounds like a radio host.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it was. Just, he finished the order. He confirmed my order. Pull up to the window. You rule.
This sounds like the exact...
Thanks for calling in.
He was like a charming Zap Brannigan.
This sounds like the exact opposite experience I had at a Taco Bell.
Okay.
Because I had I went up and I don't even remember what I ordered. I went up and they were just like, "Hey, Taco Bell, what can I get you?" I'd like a quesadilla, for example, or whatever like that. And he's like, "We ain't got those. You don't have them?" He's like, "No, I ain't got none."
You got tortillas and cheese.
I'm like, oh well, okay. Well, then I'll have. Then he goes $6.75. What's happening? So I'm in fear going to the window, unlike you, who's like kind of excited. And the door opens. I don't actually see the person that's on the other end of the window is so tall. All I just see is a that just $6.75. I hand them my card and it takes it away from the window. It disappears for a bit. I'm skeptical of whether I'm going to get my card back. Window opens back up and he's just like, receipt! Take the receipt over like that. And my bag flies in behind it into the seat and sits there and he goes, "Thank you!" And the door closes.
Did you get your card back?
I did. I took the card and the bag came in as I was grabbing the card. Like, it was the most wild experience I've ever had in a drive-thru, and I didn't know what I was expecting going through.
Thank you to our patrons. Stay tuned for our socials and stay scary.
Stay scary, everybody.
Stay scary, folks.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that the Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.